South Park, gonna have myself a time.
So licensed titles, Cardi.
Licensed
How
titles.
good are licensed titles? You know, they're known for their quality, their craftsmanship, about how well they engage with an audience, which is all bullshit, of course.
Yes, absolutely.
But the South Park: The Stick of Truth is probably one of the very few examples where that's not true.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's written by Trey Parker and Matt Stone, for starters. It's developed by a well-respected
RPG developer, who've made great licensed games in the past, Knights of the Old Republic.
Yeah, so they've had a pretty decent track record.
Yeah, so you come into it from the point of view of a South Park fan, which I'm a massive South Park fan, and it's great because the humor hits. It looks like it looks like South Park.
I can't believe how authentic they've made it. That they've emulated the game. Like, it looks exactly like an episode of the show, which you're also included in it quite heavily.
And that's the thing. I think the one thing that they've managed to do is encapsulate that world. You know what I mean? Like, obviously South Park's not known for its animation or anything like that, but it's always vibrant, it's always colourful.
It's got its own style going.
And this captures that, not only in the way that it looks, but also in the way that, like, the humour comes across. There's more hits in their arm. There's a couple where you're like, yeah, we've done this before. But as a general rule, it lovingly embraces its universe.
And speaking of which, since it's a game as well, it does come into the territory. It really is this generation's Earthbound. The way you have, self-aware social commentary. You've got a bunch of kids trying to make sense of the world. And it's just all about growing up.
And it becomes bigger than them. Like,
exactly.
At the start of Earthbound, you're fighting, gnats and crickets and stuff. And by the end of it, you're fighting the aliens. You know what I mean? So, and this is very much, it follows a very similar path. The combat itself is more like, I would say, Paper Mario.
Yes, exactly.
Pretty
Interactive
much exactly
combat.
Paper
Yes.
Mario, yeah. And which I've always thought is such a missed opportunity in JRPGs particularly. You know what I mean? Like, the idea of, even just like the right button presses, engaging like the player to say you're going to aid with this, and if you miss it, and it's more than just standing in a line and waiting.
Given there was a lot of Western influence with the Stick of Truth as well, I wasn't exactly gelling well with it because I haven't really been a fan of Western RPGs, but they've managed to gel the conventions of JRPGs and Western RPGs quite well.
Yeah, and I think that's what works for it. Is honestly, I felt that the combat engine was better than the game, and I say that. Not to say that the game's bad, because it's not. It's awesome. But there was so much complexity and so much that they could have done with the combat engine that when it's over, you're like, I actually wish for DLC. I think this is one of the few times I think DLC could work, and I would get on it.
There were a few flaky spots. I wasn't exactly a fan of the navigation, the fast travel, as well as getting between different places.
And not to mention, even in some of the worlds, some of the maps, you walk and you may not necessarily know that you have to go all the way across and then down because of the way the camera lies.
I also had a few audio and video glitches, but hey, you can patch that in.
I gotta say, for once, I didn't have anything like that. But one thing that did get to me, it's just little things. I mean, my biggest complaint is the fact I couldn't change weapon in fights, like during fights. That's my biggest complaint about the game. If I'm going to that level of pedantry, you know that it's a good game.
Yeah, so, I mean, like, that's all we can say, really. South Park: Stick of Truth, go play it, go down to South Park and have yourself a time.
Friendly faces everywhere.